Healing crystals, skincare routines, knitting a sweater, fitting in jeans. With Katie and Sarah, no need to worry, you're on a lady journey.
Welcome to Lady Journey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello and welcome, everyone. We have an incredible guest today. Her name is Ariel Elias.
You might know her. We'll just say it. The beer can was thrown. A full beer can was thrown at you.
The beer can incident of 2022.
Yeah.
You were the victim and the hero.
Yes.
Can you tell the story for our listeners?
A truncated version.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Because I know you've done it ad nauseum.
You've told it so many times, but you've never told us.
I think I saw you the next day, Katie. But
And it's a very lady journey.
it is
Yes.
a lady journey. I was doing a show in New Jersey and I had a heckler. And then we got into a big back and forth. She was talking to me about Donald Trump because I didn't vote for him, and she was mad about that. And then
Of course.
as they were getting kicked out, her husband it was a BYOB place, so they had brought like cases.
Where Trumpers like to go.
Yes. I mean, look, BYOB is great. I love a bring your own wine and then just pay $15 for them to uncork it.
Yes.
But they had cases of High Noon, and on their way out, he took one of the High Noons and threw it very hard at me. And then it missed, so I picked it up and I drank the rest of it.
See.
And that's
And
the
scene.
That's where it is.
It was, and then of course I actually saw it the day that you posted it, and I remember looking at it, and it only had like 300 likes, but I could tell that it was going to go viral. But I actually had to watch it with the sound off because I found it so deeply upsetting. Like, as a comedian, felt that I was kind of experiencing what was happening and just sweating watching it.
And then also realizing how I would have handled it, where I would have done the people pleasing. And so I've always admired
What would
the
you
way
have done, do you think?
Trump jokes. Hello, my darling.
Yeah.
Like, I would have like bent.
So my boyfriend,
and,
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really stuck to your guns. I mean, you are kind of that's what I admire about you. You're a confident person, and you're kind of very confident in being intelligent, which in stand-up sometimes is a recipe for disaster.
Oh yeah, that show wasn't going well.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't.
Well, I feel like a lot of shows in New Jersey wouldn't go well for me, or I feel like a lot of female comics. I feel like it takes a certain personality. It's like the Italian,
Yeah.
tell it like it is, family stuff, broad.
Yeah.
Being
where-
broad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, loud works really well.
Yes.
And
Not
we're
dry
not.
and nuanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm like, I do, as Katie said, a little poo-poo and pee-pee.
Little poo poo pee pee. Never hurt anybody. Certainly. A little highbrow pee joke, which is my specialty. But no, we're so excited. I mean, you're really doing well from that, and we're so excited that you have now come to be here on our podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for living in Astoria.
Yes.
Oh my
Really
gosh,
means the world
neighbors.
to me.
And I feel like I have been on lady journeys with you. Every time we get on a show together or something, we're just chatting away. And one thing you have told me, which has always stuck with me, one time you said, Katie, I have a dessert every night.
Oh yeah.
You were like, I do it every night. And I was like, yes.
Why aren't we?
Why aren't we?
And there's a stigma.
There's a stigma against
Yeah.
It's
deserting
like bread.
every night.
It's like bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's never, to be clear, it's never like, and no shade, a little shade. It's never like a halo top. It's like full
I don't get Halo
sugar
Top.
before bed.
I think Halo
Oh,
Top
yeah.
is psychotic.
It hurts my stomach.
It does, and it's like geared to make it seem like it fills that godlike hole in your soul.
Yeah,
and
it's like you can eat the whole pint. It's
and
like
feel good about
just have a normal portion.
And
Of
take an
something.
antidepressant.
Yeah.
exactly.
You never have to stop eating it. It's
Just-
like, well, it doesn't taste good.
Right.
No.
You don't need a whole pint of Halo Top. You just need a scoop of Jenny's and a Wellbutrin.
And yes, and then you'll feel much better. But Halo never scratches the itch.
No.
No
it
matter
doesn't. And
how
I think
much you
it causes
eat.
an itch.
Although if
Yes.
it was here right now, I would be eating it.
But it was for a moment, like people were like, "Isn't this great?" And I was like, "It's styrofoam. It's
Yeah.
flavored styrofoam. It's not hitting my soul
It's
right.
fully
But you can
chemicals.
have all the styrofoam that you want.
I
Yes,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I have a dessert. I think I like when you're a kid and you were so excited about dessert. I want to keep that. I wanna have
Yes.
that.
It's such a simple act of self-care that you can do to make your day special. And
Yeah.
I think like just walk us through your dessert. Like, is there a ceremony behind it? Do you kind of do it like when you get home at night?
It's when I get home at night, usually from a show. I need to come down.
Yes.
Yes. And you're not a drinker.
I'm not a big drinker.
Yes.
I'm not a nightcap person in the form of alcohol, but I am a nightcap person in the form of dessert.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it's either if I've baked something, which happens sometimes, then it's that. But usually it's either ice cream and specifically Jenny's ice cream. That's
Okay.
what we
Love Jenny's.
That's what we really go for. Or it is like a bougie ginger ale.
Ooh,
Ooh, like
yummy.
Do you think Reed's is bougie? Or are you talking
I'm talking
even higher end?
I do Bruce Cost.
Quiet
usually.
luxury.
I have not had that before.
Yeah.
I've had Reed's. I love Reed's has a kick.
It is. It's stronger than the regular Seagrams or
Right.
Yeah.
Canada Dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reed's in a pinch, but Bruce Cost is definitely my go-to. It has little like flakes of ginger at the bottom.
Okay.
And I think it also has a lot more sugar.
Probably.
Well,
yeah.
but the ginger's good for you though.
It's good. It's I got hooked on it when I had a little norovirus in January. The only thing I could keep down was
Yeah.
that ginger ale.
Yeah, ginger ale, I think when you're sick, ginger ale is the best thing. I've never liked Gatorade. The fact that it is like a strange color just always really freaked me out.
Yeah.
It also gets like caught in my throat in like a kind of like
Gatorade?
tacky way.
Yeah.
Like how milk can.
Yeah.
it's
Although I
like-
do like milk.
It's like it makes my throat feel sort of stuck together a little
Yeah.
bit. I think it's the corn syrup.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like Gatorade. I do not like Pedialyte, but I could do a ginger ale.
Pedialyte's so salty.
Oh, I can't. The fact that it comes in that jug too, I'm just like, it's something I find off-putting about it.
Yeah, it
And
makes me
it's
think of a
Pedia?
colonoscopy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. It's like you're at the hospital and you're deathly ill and you're like, I have to drink this.
You're like, I love that glucose drink that they make you drink for diabetes.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, what's that? Like the shake that you drink when you're about to get like.
Oh yeah.
No, it's like Pepto Bismol when you're about to get like some kind of X-ray or something.
Yes.
Oh,
With the
like,
dye in
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
You're like, that's my
dessert.
drink.
That's my little treat. But Bruce
So-
Cost is cane sugar.
Ooh.
It's not fruit. It's not.
So it's good for
corn
you.
syrup.
I mean, cane sugar.
That's how I feel.
Cane
It's
sugar
from
is
the
not
earth.
great for you, but it's still better than like real sugar is so much better than any other additive. I think cane
Yeah.
sugar is actually better for you than whatever's in Halo Top.
I'm a
Yes.
huge real sugar proponent over,
Oh yeah, and it
over
tastes
any
so
sort
good.
of sweetener.
Ooh, yummy.
Yeah, because you're like anything. Because I drink Diet Coke and I love it, but
Yeah, same.
the idea of just being like, what is it, aspartame? And
Yeah.
now they're saying it is a cancer, or
Oh,
they're
I'm sure it
considering.
is. You're like,
But if
this
you drink
cancer
a shit
tastes
ton,
good.
This cancer gets me through the day.
yeah.
I do love a Diet Coke, I have to say. But
Eh.
when I have regular Coke, though, I don't like the taste as much. It's something
Oh,
about the
really?
tang of the.
The diet.
Yeah.
I think I'm just so used to it now that I just don't go back to a regular Coke. But also, it could be programming of fat phobia. now.
Yeah, it could be. You never
It's
know
the
when that's
last
going to
one.
sneak in.
Well, like I just went back to bread, but I haven't managed to go back to regular sodas again.
I did this thing recently. I was working with, as you know, I'm doing my environmental works. I was working with this cool company called Unfucked. I don't know if that's how they're pronouncing it, but that is how it's spelled online. But so we did like a prank.
How
of,
else could it be pronounced?
I don't know.
Fucked?
You're like, I didn't realize like, you're like, this is our business. We have the word fuck in it. But it's called Unfucked. It's called Unfucked. But so we all did tagging Cheerios about their use of glyphosate, which is like what they spray on the crops. It's in like all breads and all oats, and it's just in everything. And so I've been trying to stay away from that, but eating organic breads.
Yes. But like, do you put ice cream in your ginger ales?
No, I don't do floats.
You don't?
Not a float girl.
It's
a dying art.
Too much. Yeah, I will say. Oh my god, I love an affogato. Woo!
What's that?
The espresso over ice
Espresso
cream?
over vanilla.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yes.
a coffee
Of
float.
course.
For sure.
Of course. Yeah, you
Absolutely.
got to get through the afternoon.
But that's basically just like putting milk and sugar in your coffee. You
Yeah,
know,
it
that's
is,
what
it
ice
is.
cream is.
Yeah.
I think the soda ice cream is too much for me. It's too
I
sweet.
see. I like a good Sprite float or a ginger float.
Ooh,
Yes.
ginger. I haven't had one in years. I would try it though.
You're
it's
not a
pretty
root
good.
beer float?
I don't. Root beer is weird. I
The
think about
flavor of root beer is always very like
Chemically?
artificial. Yeah. If it
Yeah.
was like a true root beer, then yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I used to work in a restaurant and we had Barks root beer was like our big sort of like aren't we cute kind
Yes.
of drink that we had, but foreigners we realized don't like it because I guess it's the same flavor as like a toothpaste that they have.
That's
and I wonder if
bizarre.
that's because you're South African.
yes, it is because my mom's like it tastes like toilet bowl cleaner.
Yeah, there's a specific
Yeah.
Imagine root beer flavored toothpaste.
Well, it's weird. Like my nephew doesn't like mint, so
Neither does my husband.
He brushes his teeth with bubblegum toothpaste, and I'm like, so you just have bad breath all the time? Like,
Bubblegum
it's-
breath. Yeah.
it's
That's
like,
hilarious.
because that's what they give kids because they can't handle
Right.
that too
Yeah.
intense of a flavor. But I'm just like, that's vile.
Yeah, there's
I have
got
to
to
tell
be
you
another
a
option.
secret.
Over there, write it down.
Text it.
Yeah.
Now, Ariel, what flavors of Jenny's are you working with?
Well, we do. So, okay. Jenny's, we like to order. And because the shipping is expensive, we're like, well, let's just order 12 pints at a time to make
Absolutely.
it worth it.
Of course.
So we do quite the smorgasbord of Jenny's flavors.
Can I ask why Jenny's?
It's so good.
They have unique flavors.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like the peaches and biscuit one.
Okay.
That's a classic.
sounds
It's
good.
so good.
I had something that was like a blackberry something. Am I wrong? Thinking
Oh, brambleberry.
oh, maybe that was it. Yeah.
Brambleberry is
Okay.
good.
Yeah, it was like hearty.
And I will
like,
say their cookies and cream is the best cookies and cream I've ever had.
Can I do
love
1
cookies
month
and cream.
trial of this?
I mean, you can just order. It's not a subscription.
Oh, it's not.
No.
I thought you were doing
We
a
order it every
subscription.
month, but you don't have to.
yeah,
You can just get
let's
whatever
order
you
some.
want.
I'll
I
go
think
in
I
on it
will
with
try.
you.
Yeah, I want to
live
They
there.
try.
also have it at the Seatown Fresh on 24th Ave.
Okay.
And then they also carry it now at the CVS on 31st
It's
and Ditmars.
popping up a lot of places.
Yeah.
I see it a lot of places. I'm a big Van Leeuwen head. I love the Earl Grey, and we live by one. So
Okay.
every now and then I'll get a little one of those.
How'd you find out about Jenny's?
Anthony DeVito,
Okay.
sweet boy comedian, was walking with my husband and they walked by Seatown. And Anthony insisted on going in to get himself some Jenny's. And we made fun of him for spending that much money on ice cream. And then we tried it. And now we spend so much more money on ice cream.
That's great. It's like a drug problem. It's
Yeah,
like you just get
our friend got
introduced.
us hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first pint's free.
That's amazing because you don't ever see it advertised. Because I have to tell you, I'm not really I've never really heard of anyone talking about Jenny's.
Well, we
Isn't
don't.
it?
Or I've never
isn't
really
it a
seen it in the grocery
Texas
store.
Brand? I think
It's an Ohio brand.
Oh, really?
But they don't have it in New York. Like there are like ice cream shops or parlors or whatever like of Jenny's in like a bunch of other cities, including LA. But for whatever reason, they're not in New York.
Weird.
So you,
Big-
it's
big
a
ice
little
cream.
Underground.
big ice cream. Yeah.
Maybe it's Breyers
Yeah,
or whatever.
ooh, I bet.
Yeah.
New York doesn't really, this might be controversial and I'll probably get some hate, but I don't really find the upstate, the northeast region of ice cream to be that great.
I know it's like I mean
It's
you've
cheaper,
Ben and
deeper to me.
Jerry's, Ben and Jerry's, but
Oh yeah, I
don't
forget that that's actually Vermont,
Vermont, but
so that counts.
I don't
So
love
it's
Ben and
great.
Jerry's. I don't love it. It's too much. We've had this conversation before, but I don't like
don't either.
things in the ice cream. I like flavors.
I like one thing.
One
but I
thing.
don't. I can't have the whole kitchen sink in there.
No.
Yeah, it's too
Penny-
much. It's too
somebody
much in
would
there.
make
You
fun
feel
of
like
us
you're
pennies.
excavating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like now, so are you baking in the summer? Do you bake at summertime?
Yeah, I'll bake in the summer.
Do
I
you
love
really?
baking in the summer because with anything that needs proofing, it does better when it's warmer out and more humid.
Ah, yes.
Because I don't have a proofing drawer. We're not
Of
living
course,
that
of course.
luxury
We're in the
life.
country.
But you like to do breads, right?
I love anything with yeast.
Yeah. See, I'm very challenged by yeast. I have to say,
Really?
like, I don't have really the patience. Like, I could do like a focaccia or something.
Okay.
But like yeast, I feel like I want to bake and bake and bake and then be done. And then the waiting, it's just too much for me. And then I'm like,
It is.
now
Love the waiting.
I'm over here.
It's-
I'm a different woman.
It's so high maintenance where you're like, I just proofed, or like I made it and then I have to go to bed, but I have to wake up in 6 hours, which is less than my sleeping time for bread, where you're like, well, this is insanity.
I love it so much.
It's almost a child.
Most breads are also, well, as the very pregnant Sarah. It's like,
I have a bun in the oven, literally.
It's like, I can't wake up every 6 hours. I cannot.
I can't do it. But it is because like that's the part I like is yeast needs sugar, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
To feed.
And boy, do I relate.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeast
same.
is like, yeast is just out here like, I just love dessert. I just like dessert.
Same.
But I mean, also I think I have like a very fondness for yeast. I love that they like the way that it works is like, yes, it needs sugar, it's eating. And then the reason it works is because it's releasing little gases after it eats. So it's just burping and farting basically.
Those are those
And
bubbles.
That's the bubbles. That's what makes things right. And I
Wow.
think I just think it's so cute that and it's also like, you know, I have this little jar of these little alive things
Yeah.
in my fridge.
It is
And
magical.
they're just chilling and sleeping. And then I'm like, wake up.
It's time to fart.
eat. It's time to fart.
Fart in my mouth.
And then I'm
And then I'm
gonna eat
going to
you.
kill you. And I feel like God.
It is. It's very.
It is.
I can see why it plays a part in biblical times.
Yeah, it's the beginning
Totally.
and the end.
Yes.
There's also like, maybe because I am very much like, I am woman, but I have never created life. But baking is like the closest I've ever gotten to that feeling of like taking these ingredients that were not something and then putting them all
Yeah.
together in my oven, this bun in my, like a literal bun in my oven, and watching it become something I can eat. Maybe it's a bad analogy.
No,
I
I'm
like
in.
it. I think
it
it's,
works.
I mean, I do always feel like that when I cook, actually. And, you know, because I do other cooking projects, but I love to like put on a podcast, go in my zone, and then you look from beginning to end. You're like, oh, I was only in here like an hour and a half, whatever. But I've completely made like this beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it feels so, I think as a creative person, it's really nice to do it in a context where there's no pressure.
No pressure.
Like the bar is low. Like I just made a salad for 90 minutes. And
Well, and baking, it's really hard to just bake and like, because it's just me and my husband. So you don't really bake for two. That's
Yeah.
a really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So I end up giving to my neighbors, and it's a nice way to like, it makes me feel like I'm part of a community.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
I love that. I
true.
wish I lived closer to you. Hello. Now, okay, what are your top 3 breads or rolls, things to
Ooh,
bake?
I love a cinnamon roll. I
Oh
love
my
making a cinnamon
God, I
roll.
love a cinnamon roll. Stop.
I've been craving cinnamon raisin bread lately with just butter.
I love that. The cinnamon
Yeah.
raisin bagel
I
is
can't find it. I can find the bagels, but I can't find cinnamon raisin toast.
Oh, they have a cinnamon raisin challah at my grocery
Oh,
store.
I'm gonna have to
yeah.
check
Oh
that
my
out
God,
instead.
it's so good.
So like a cinnamon.
I want to make you one.
Yeah, make me one.
A cinnamon raisin bread or a cinnamon raisin challah.
Yes.
So I really like that. I love because that's it's not an all day project, but it is. You do have to let it rest. It is like a 3-hour rise.
Okay.
It's a very sugary, very eggy dough, and I like that a lot. I do love just a classic, easy, no knead sourdough overnight. It's
Yummy.
It's super easy and forgiving. It just takes a whole day.
Yeah, I did the New York Times
Yeah,
no,
I like that
and I
one.
still ran into it. Still tasted good, but I knew I didn't get it to where it needed to be. I thought the dough. I was like, "Is this wet? This is really
So wet. It's a really wet dough.
And then you feel like I did it wrong, and then you add a little bit more flour, and I think that's where I messed up.
But that's just part of learning. You learn what the dough should feel like.
and to how to work with it, because
Mm-hmm.
at first you're like, I don't really like getting all that on my fingers.
Do you? Yes.
But it's all like it gets everywhere, and then I feel like I've taken most of it's on my hand rather than on the actual what's supposed to
And
be
you know
made.
what? That's okay.
That's okay. Okay.
That's okay.
I love
just take your rings
sourdough,
off
though.
first.
Okay, maybe that's where.
Take your rings off.
All right, I'll try
I
that.
lost my wedding ring in that bread. I love
then it's a
sourdough.
king's cake.
You repropose.
A king's cake, yeah. But no, sourdough is the best.
Sourdough is great.
Oh, it's so good. I love the Bread Alone brand. Like they have like a French sourdough, and they have San Francisco sourdough too, and it's just the perfect tartness. Now, do you have your own mother that you keep and you reuse it?
No.
Or you get it from store?
I mean, I guess I should, but at this point, it just feels so wasteful. You're throwing away so much flour and stuff.
sometimes I've noticed, I might be wrong on this, but like those recipes where they're like, do it like use this product, I don't taste that big of a difference. Maybe with like real lemon juice or something, or garlic rather than like the ones that come in the jar. But
I have to use jar garlic now. That's my way of life.
well, I've just been cutting corners all over the place because I'm just, I used to be like making my own salad dressings because I know that they taste better than the store, but now you can find a few that are fine.
Yeah, like just
but that's what I find about like mother yeast or whatever.
Yeah. I'm not trying to do all that. I really just use the New York Times overnight no knead bread where you don't need a starter.
Great.
And then a third bread. I just made cardamom buns for the first time.
Yum. My God.
And that was I know what I need to improve a little bit, but that was really fun. That reminded me of cinnamon rolls, actually.
Oh my God. That's like, those are all the rage now. I see those in like every coffee shop. They're like,
They're good, man.
With the they have little thistles on the top of them. Yeah, it's got like a texture.
It's like a bun. Like you make like a little like hair bun. Like
so gorgeous. Did you put it in cinnamon and sugar also?
It's cardamom. There's no cinnamon sugar. It was just I did brush it with like a simple syrup.
Oh, nice. Okay. To give it a little sheen.
Now, do you think you have the balls to go do Great British Bake Off or something like that? No.
No, never.
But aren't those people supposed to be amateurish?
They're amateur, but they're still really good. And they
do it like on a daily basis.
They like practice a lot. And then they also, for one, I'm not good at decorating at all. I'm not very artistic in that way.
Okay.
And then they also have to do it in such a time constraint. And that to me takes away like what I love about it, which is just like, this is my day.
Yeah. Making rolls, letting them rise.
I'm such a competitive person also, and there's just no part of me that wants to turn baking into money making competition. I don't want anything to taint it because it's one of the few things I enjoy.
Yes, keep it precious. Now, do you ever, like in the summer when it's so hot, do you ever do like a no bake recipe?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Moving on.
Because I'm not
moving on.
Because I'm not really here for I'm not a product killer. I'm a process killer.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I hear that.
I'm your Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm not your
Ted Bundy.
I
don't know if that was a good analogy.
No, I think Ted Bundy was also a process killer.
I think he was too.
Right?
Yeah. Maybe
What's
we're
a
thinking
process
of
killer?
JJ
Somebody who enjoys the
Holmes.
process of killing, but not necessarily the dead body itself.
Oh, I think I'm the process. I've always been the journey, not the the destination's always a letdown to me.
Yeah. This is called Lady Journey, not Lady Destination.
Yes.
That is a really good point, and you're the only person that's brought that up to
You're
our
the smartest
attention.
person we've ever had on here. I'll do a no bake. Like, well, I have my one recipe that I love, which is it's like coconut flour, peanut butter, maple syrup, and then you put peanut melted chocolate on top, and it's just like it's basically like a Reese's, like a healthy Reese's, healthier, and I love those. So I'll do those. Like my apartment just gets so hot in the summer that I have to kind of like shut off all oven use.
Yeah,
because it just becomes like unbearable, and we only have one window unit in right now because of our construction. So
no, I had that a few weeks ago. I decided I need to clean my oven in the summer.
No, Sarah. No.
When it strikes you, you must.
No, that's
at midnight. It got so hot in our apartment, and then So what it did, it also kicked on our exhaust fan for some reason, which I didn't know those two were connected. And so I then stopped it in the middle, and then it wouldn't shut the exhaust fan on. And then I went online, and they were like, if one thing you should not do is interrupt the oven cleaning. And I was like, why isn't this ever told to me as common knowledge if this is like the one thing you shouldn't do? It was fine, but it was really funny. I was like, you never know when you're about to open a portal to hell.
Yeah.
Like you reach the right permutation or formula just out of your own experimentation where you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? So don't ever do that, guys.
But you also went into it of like, I've heard about hell. I wonder if I could like to do that in the summer isn't insane.
I didn't know that. Because I didn't know that the reason why it's cleaning your oven is because it gets really hot.
It's like the hottest. What were you picturing?
Like chemicals.
But wait, was Joe here?
Yes.
I just pictured Joe's like so hot. He's like, why is it so hot in here? You're like, don't worry about it.
He didn't know I did that. So I turned the oven cleaning on. I went downstairs, and then about 2 hours later, I come up. I'm like, oh my God, it's hot. And he was like on the couch watching sports, and he was like, I couldn't figure out why. It's getting hot. And then, it was an ordeal.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But it was one of those things where you're like, what? My parents never told me about this. Internet has never told me. TikTok has never told me this. It was just something I stumbled upon myself.
And that's why people should
apparently
listen to
it's
this
a common
podcast.
knowledge. Yeah.
That you don't turn it up. What happens if you turn it off in the middle? It just...
I didn't know that part.
Oh, it just my exhaust fan. The reason the exhaust fan kept going is because it had to reach back down to 200 degrees or something in temperature for it to be like, everything's fine now. We can turn the exhaust fan off. I didn't know that. So we just had like this extreme white noise machine in our apartment.
Wow.
And, it was chaotic for just a moment.
It's the worst spa.
But I didn't know oven cleaning was just a consistent heat for 5 hours straight.
Yeah, that's
like
nuts.
the hottest it can go.
Well, people, that's why like you always hear about like these apartment fires, and it's because like if the winter, if people's heat doesn't work, they'll just like turn on their oven, but then it just catches. It's what ends up happening.
Yeah,
Whoopsie.
I mean, we do for sure. When in our last apartment, which it wasn't insulated very well, and we would just be like, all right, I guess we should like bake something, or my husband would make something, and then we'd leave the oven open and just let all the hot air come out.
Yeah, that's when I like to do baking like in wintertime, because for me it's like very houga, or like roasting veggies,
Cozy.
that type of stuff. So it's like definitely more
you
of
for
like
the
a winter downtime.
Well, a lot of people don't know what hoogie is, but we've talked about
hoogie.
it.
You taught it to me.
Yes. Oh, did I?
Yeah,
yes.
on
The
the subway
Danish
once.
art of warmth and coziness, and it's very lady journey. Blankies, board games, which I've never played, but I like to have them there as a decoration.
Yeah, it's hopeful. Now, did you used to teach classes for cooking or baking?
I used to work at this it was awful, but it was it was this place that did cooking classes for like after school classes for kids or like
nice.
camps, and then at night it would turn into like cooking classes for adults. But I only ever worked with the kids. I would work the adult classes, but I was always just like doing dishes.
Adults get weird.
It was just
Kids are easier to hang out with.
Adults are like oversharing about their marriage falling apart, and that's why they're in the cooking class. And you're
just
like
trauma dumping on
Dawn,
you.
Yeah.
I did really love. I worked a bachelorette party one time.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
It was so
Nerds.
fun because I remember going out in the hallway and seeing two girls it was just like different corners of the room talking shit about each other. And
Of course.
yes,
really loved it.
delicious.
Surviving.
They were like, she's just like not even making an effort
In the baking?
in the cooking. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny that even in the baking world, it can get there is crying in the bachelorette baking world.
In the bachelorette community.
And to tie it all back, that it was BYOB. So some people would just get tanked.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I can't imagine trying to cook. I like to have a glass of wine while I'm making like dinner or something, but like
especially like a team effort with a bachelorette party, because it's a bunch of girls that a lot of the times collectively only know each other because of one person. So
Right.
that's the only common ground you're dealing with.
Yes.
And then when you're trying to do team building exercise, what a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. There's always an element of bachelorette parties too. And I say this having participated in several, but there's an element of like, there are certain people in the party, not even necessarily the bride, but like other people who kind of want to make it about them, you know, like in the group dynamic. And it's like, that's not going to be good for cooking.
Yeah.
Go out to Peppers. That was the local bar
or they
at my
want to
college.
be like, I'm the one who knows the bride the best.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
yes.
It's very competitive
Yes.
about how they. Did you have a bachelorette party, Sarah?
I try to organize. Well, I did a light one. It was Ashley Brooke Roberts supposed to meet me in Red Hook, and then my sister. But then it was a big to do after a soccer game, and then I finished the soccer game, and then Christian Palanca. I was like, I'm about to get lunch with Ashley, and I didn't tell him that was our bachelorette lunch, and he was like, oh, I'm hungry, I'll join. And I was like, I like Christian. So he got there, and then Ashley brought out the penis straws, and I'm like, hey Christian, did you know that you're part of my bachelorette party?
What a great prank. Gotcha.
But I was not into a bachelorette party because I don't like mixing friend groups, and a lot of I've like my female comic friends, and then I have my friends from back home, and I just don't want to ask people to fly to New York for about like spend money.
Yeah.
I was like, come for the wedding if you can make it, but I don't need you to come and do several events.
And you like to
Yes.
compartmentalize the people in your life.
I do. I like to
It's-
give undivided attention a little bit. Or there's people that I can bring to a party and let them go off, and they're not going to wreak havoc. And then there's some that I'm like, have to be careful. Yeah.
It's hard when you do any party context when there's different groups, because then you end up feeling like you're hosting,
Yes.
taking care of everyone, and like people pleasing all of them, and then you don't even have that good of a time.
Not at all.
Because you're worried about like your friend in the corner who's like looking sad now. You're like, now I got to check on this bitch.
Which I was absolutely that person at a bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
I went to a bachelorette party, and there was one night we were all out, and it wasn't the bride, but it was somebody else at the party came over to me and was like, are you having fun? I was like, no.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, let me get it together. Like, clearly
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is reading. And
Yes.
that's not great.
But I will
don't want
say,
it to
like,
do that.
that's why I do like a cooking as a bachelorette activity. It's like too many bachelorette parties, they end up going into, now it's an epic girls' vacation that we're
Yes.
on together. That's like 4 days of celebrating one person. It's like, just have a night. Just have your one night. Have your
a
tea
goal
party.
set in mind too.
We're
Sometimes
making a
helps.
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is, I don't know. Did you have a bachelorette party?
No, I didn't. Well, because I also got married during COVID.
Yes.
So the extent of my bachelorette party was Molly Rubin Long one day was like, do you want to go to Philly for a weekend?
Oh, that's
and
fun.
so we just did that.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
then while we were there, we were like, I guess this is my bachelorette party.
Yes.
Because I
Yeah.
was getting married the next week.
Now,
But that was it.
Yeah.
So I forgot that you got married during COVID.
Yeah.
But you had like a backyard wedding, which I think is like such a fun minimalist
Where was
way
the
to get
backyard?
married.
My brothers and sister-in-laws in DC.
DC's a great city. I
Were-
really like DC.
I love it. I was just there.
architecturally. I love that there's not really any high rises.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have
it's
so many
Euro.
beautiful neighborhoods that have like so many trees. I was
Yeah.
in Jefferson Adams when I was there, and I was like, I kept going to this one Greek restaurant that was just beautiful, and just I love it. It's
Yeah.
so nice in the summer.
It's also cool that it's a city full of people with diplomatic immunity where you're like, oh, you could just commit a crime. I think that's cool.
Yeah, those are the people you want to have at your comedy show. Yeah, you're stupid. I mean,
It is wild at being a city that it's all like it's based on. It feels like politicians and service industry.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is that. I remember one time doing a show there and afterwards hanging out at the bar, and there was one woman who was, I mean, so hammered.
Yeah.
So drunk.
Martini hammered.
I don't know what she was drinking.
I feel like that's their
I
drink
don't-
of choice.
I don't think I love a martini.
Love
but
one.
I
Love one. Just
yes.
one.
Yeah. Well, it is like 5 drinks in one.
Well, I also
Martinis
like
are nuts.
I like any drink that has food that comes with it.
I know.
an
I love it.
olive?
Like the brine. I'm like,
Yes.
ooh.
Yes. But she was so drunk, and I was talking to her a little bit, and she was like, I don't usually get this drunk, but I just finished a job, And it was a job where I couldn't get drunk because I knew secrets, and I was afraid I was going to get too drunk and divulge secrets.
I do it sober.
I don't think I'd be able to stop myself. Yeah.
I've got information that will levitate me in this friend group.
You are not going to believe this.
Anytime somebody's like, can I tell you something, and you won't tell anybody, and I'm like, yeah, but I am going to tell my husband.
Yes.
When people are like, don't tell your husband, I'm like,
Then
okay.
don't tell me, 'cause
Yeah.
I'm going to tell him.
Oh, I still sure.
That's your release valve. You have to tell him so you won't tell everybody. It's either I'm going to tell my partner or I'm going to tell every single person I see in the next day.
I think I've kept 1 or 2 secrets away from my husband, but I love that I'm sharing that now on the podcast. So people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
Does he not know you're pregnant?
No, he doesn't.
You're bloated. You're bloated again.
He's just like, oh, I love her for who she is.
Let's have a podcast, baby.
But now, so when you decided to have a backyard wedding, was it more like you were like, it's COVID, we're just going to do it now? Did you ever think about having a big wedding? Like, I feel like so many people I know now, they're really doing a lot with weddings, and I love a more minimalist approach.
I've never been a wedding person. I was never.
The cultures, unless you're like billions of money and it doesn't, 100,000 does not make a dent in your bank account, fine, fuck it. Have the
Yeah.
time of your life.
Even 20,000.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's just like, what a bad investment.
Yeah.
With the rate of divorce, you're just like 20,000 with a 50% return rate. I don't think that's that great.
Maybe it made sense when you could buy a house for $30,000, but that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
So but I was never somebody who like I never dreamed about a wedding. So, and neither of us are planners either. Like, we're just not good at that, and it's not a priority to us. But we had been engaged going into COVID. We had already been engaged for maybe a year and a half, and we had talked about maybe just like, whatever, we'll look at a place and maybe my mom will just take over. I think that's kind of what we were hoping
And
for.
they never did.
And then, and then we realized maybe that's actually not a great solution. But then when COVID hit, I was of the mindset of like, I don't really care that much about legally being married. I really just, the way I put it was like, I was always just happy with one ring. I didn't need a second one. I was just happy to have like, you know.
Yeah,
Got
to
him.
be with a person.
You rang the bell.
Yeah.
I was happy that he was like, I'm not planning on breaking up with you.
Yeah. That's all you
You're like,
want.
done.
That's all I
Done.
wanted. And then when COVID hit, and like, you know, we're in Queens, it hit really hard here and really early. We had this moment of like, well, if one of us gets sick and one of us has to pull the plug on the other, I want to be the one to do that.
Wow. That is a
Let
great,
me in there.
I want to
that's a great proposal.
Yeah, it was just like, well, I should be the one to kill you, and you should be the one to kill me. It shouldn't be our moms who would be the ones who are
yeah.
legally.
I like that you guys are like, we're definitely pulling the plug.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's no Terry Shrivo scenario here.
Not at all. We've had the conversation of like, even if I'm
Or Teresa.
Terry Shiva.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
Terry,
yeah.
yeah.
Or we're just like, even if I still know what's going on, you can still just pull it.
Yeah. If it's not looking good,
Yeah. I
pull
don't
the
need
plug.
When you
Seems
guys
exhausting.
did you do any planning at all for the backyard, or you guys were just like, just go head to the backyard?
My sister-in-law did everything. She is wonderful and is she's like of the world where they plan things.
Okay.
So when we got married, it was basically my parents, we knew they would be vaccinated soon, and so they were going to go see my brother and because we hadn't seen each other, and then we were like, oh, why don't we also come down too?
Yeah, it's not far.
It's not
from
far.
Here.
And what if we got married in the backyard while we were there, and it'll just be us because we'll already be there. And then his sister lives close by, and then we just drove down with his mom. And so my sister-in-law was like, she was so excited about it, and she was like, I'll take care of everything. So she said it. She got a bunch of pictures of us and like framed them and put them around.
Okay.
And she rented like a chuppah.
Oh, I love that.
What's a chuppah?
It's like an arch kind of thing
Okay,
that you get
gotcha.
married under. That Jews do it, but
Okay.
other people do it too. But it's like our thing.
Yeah.
But
It
you
sounded
guys
like
can-
a Jewish term.
Yeah, because of the ch.
Yeah.
God bless you.
So and then she just had it catered, and had like, you know, there were just like we just had dinner.
What's
I
the
love
kind
that.
of catering did you do?
It was Greek food.
Oh,
love Greek
perfect.
food.
So Astoria.
Yeah,
This
I
is
know. That's
a throwback to
that
the
was
neighborhood.
right. That was the homage that we wanted to pay.
See,
and my dad married us.
Oh, I love the appeal. I just went to a destination wedding, and it was gorgeous and it was beautiful and I loved it. And I do also love a tiny wedding too, because I feel like you can go, if you only have like 8 people there, it's like, then of course it really kind of opens up in a way to do like whatever you want, where it's like, okay, it's just us. We're getting the food that we want for us. We're doing, I had a friend also, she did a really cute backyard wedding. She's a set designer. She designs Barbie installations for like conventions and stuff.
Wow, she must be so busy now.
Yeah, she's fabulous and she's amazing. But so she got married during COVID. They had 6 people and she did her entire backyard. She created a beautiful like scenic backdrop, and then she had everyone seated. And then 4 friends, 2 for each side. One person married them, and then 1 photographer. And then she had set out this gorgeous table. It was like Martha Stewart, and then everyone came over and had dinner. So, but we all watched on Zoom, which was great.
Yeah,
because I was like in public in the hotel, just like crying at the hotel bar, like watching my friend. But I loved it. I love different types of weddings, and I love that you did that.
Well,
it's an interesting option to have,
Here's what ends up happening. We did, I think, close to maybe 100 guests, but it was like 50 plus 1. They're plus ones or whatever. It's weird because you're like, a lot of those people, after the wedding, because of life, you never see them again.
Yeah.
It's almost, that's why I always wanted smaller, because I just do a smaller, I cast a small net.
Yeah. But it balloons so, like, when we were originally planning a wedding,
we forgot people too.
I know, I wasn't there. We had, but we started making like an Excel spreadsheet of who we wanted to invite. And originally, you think like, what do we have, like 25 friends? And then,
right.
But then it becomes a whole thing, and then everybody, like, our moms had their own guest list that they wanted, and then,
of course,
and then it's just like, you know what?
No.
Thank God for the pandemic.
Yeah.
I think that's partly why people do destination weddings now too, because it's like, if you
Filter
want
it
to
out.
come to my wedding, fine. You get your passport renewed.
Yeah.
Where was the destination wedding you went
Costa
to?
Rica.
Ooh,
I just
yeah.
spent the whole last episode talking about it, so I'll tell you after.
Okay,
But
okay,
it was
yes.
so fabulous and fun, and I can't stop thinking about it because I just got back yesterday.
Yeah.
So how many years have you been married now?
2.
Aw.
I know.
It's like I can't believe the pandemic. It's like it just happened.
Well, then it's like, isn't it weird when you get married? You feel like things are different, and then it feels like it for maybe one day, and then you just go back to, you're like, you're really my boyfriend.
I know.
Yeah.
We still will look at each other and be like, we're married.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Do you guys ever talk? Joe and I always talk about like, I wonder who's gonna die first.
Oh, I know it's going to be him.
Do you think? Well, usually it's men, but Joe and I have that. I'm 4 years older, and usually men die 4 years earlier than the woman.
Yeah, but my husband's 8 years older than I am, and he's left-handed. They statistically die younger too.
Why?
Because
Wow, I didn't know this.
Stats. We were like, who knew?
because most things, it's not like they're like more likely to get cancer because they're left-handed. It's because it's an average thing, so they're more likely to be the victims of freak accidents, because if you think
Things aren't
about,
made
like,
for them.
things are not made for them. So like farm equipment or like a chainsaw or anything that can potentially
Wow.
be there, it's not designed for their bodies.
That's so messed
So they're
up.
more likely to.
You're like, Shaki, get away from that chainsaw. Wow.
He is very handy, and it worries me.
Yeah.
Now, this is like a time of year that I always feel kind of depressed by, because it's like back to school, like we're still in summer, but it's like kind of ending.
But I do like back to school shopping.
I do like that.
And I'm still in that mindset of like, I'm going to get a bunch of tartan skirts.
Yeah. I'm going to get a pencil box.
Notebooks.
I'm going to get a pencil box. Yeah. There's something, it's bittersweet for me, because it's like, I want to go back away from my summer vacation lifestyle and, back to the grindstone and doing the fall things. But then also I just love summer so much. And so it kind of depresses me. It feels like an eternal Sunday just for like weeks and weeks.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I think if what followed fall was not winter, I would love fall so much more.
Yeah. Winter is tough for me.
It's really tough.
It's a long winter.
It's a long winter. Yeah.
It's brutal.
It gets dark so
And then
early.
spring sucks here too.
Spring sucks.
Spring is a bummer.
Spring
is a
is
bummer.
cold and it's wet.
It's so
Yeah.
cold. It really threw me for a loop when I first moved here because I didn't realize that March was also miserable, and
Yeah.
then April can be really awful too.
It's like clear through June. Like June is like, and June is mild, very mild.
Well, and then this year we just
Yeah.
got smoke in June, so you're like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
we've had such little time.
we got robbed.
We got
got
robbed.
robbed.
We did.
I know. Well, it's hot now, and I'm sure it'll be hot through September. You know, I love September. It's a really lovely month in New York, and I only have started appreciating it now when I'm able to stay present through my fear of summer ending. But I wanted to ask you, like, do you have any like back to school like practices that you do to like fall forward? Like for example, buying of the notebooks,
That's
things like that.
I don't, but I would like to. I think
Yeah.
that's an interesting idea. I think once I stopped going to school, I really stopped marking the occasion.
Yeah.
But I think I would like to. I think I would like to like, I don't know. I have this fantasy constantly of like getting into gardening because that's what my mom is into. And I
yes.
think like switching over to the fall vegetables
Yes.
would be like, and like knowing when to plant things.
Ooh, the harvest.
I know. I
Yeah.
think I just want to go back to living by the moon
Yes. Yeah.
and let that be my indicator of time. It's why I love being Jewish because we still live on a lunar calendar, you know?
Ooh,
I-
that's very cool.
That's the way of living. The way I want to live is live to live. Do you know what I mean? Like my daily activities during the day is because it's collecting food and gathering and making stuff to put food into it rather than like sending out emails
Yeah.
It's so disconnected.
and
Yeah.
just hanging out with community or like your tribe or whatever. Like that's the way of life that I would prefer to have, but like we can't do it.
I also truly love manual labor. And so like weeding or like sweeping the yard or raking or anything like that. Like I really love it.
Yeah, I like that too. Like I almost like prefer like walking to like, going to the gym and like, burning it out because it just kind of feels pointless.
Right.
Just like doing something where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like I went on a hike like that. I had to like hike over to the town to
And
buy
you have something to show for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, have you ever thought of, since this is the way that you like to live, what's the term? Kibbutz?
Oh, I would love a kibbutz.
I would
life.
too, but do they let Gentiles on there?
I
What-
don't know.
what is that?
I think it's a commune in Israel, but also I've
okay.
heard like the kibbutz way of life is kind of dying out, like what it used to be, and sort of what it was designed to be is not.
Yeah, because when you
What it is
first, the
anyway.
first part of a cult, every time we watch the docs, we're like, sign me up.
Yes.
That sounds amazing. And then some guy named Keith ruins it because you have to blow him.
And play volleyball. Yeah, like I was on board with light yoga, self-care, and
Gardening.
vegan treats.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now we're playing vicious volleyball.
At 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And listening to one man talk about, or person about life, but usually
Yeah.
it's a dude. Although I'm always impressed when a female infiltrates the cult world.
I
Yes.
dated a guy briefly who ended up joining a female-led cult, and on one hand I was like, that's awful that I dated this guy who's now in a cult, but on the other hand I was like, but he does believe in women in charge.
A matriarchal
good for
society.
you. Wow, what cult was that?
Teal Swan?
I don't know what it might be actually. It's something.
It's
in
one of the newer
California.
ones.
Yeah, it's
Like Teal was in like Nevada or
thi-
something.
yeah.
okay. Maybe it's a different one then.
Yeah.
We dated in New Orleans for a little bit, and then we broke up, but we were friends, and then he went on some like retreat, and I picked him up from the airport with the new guy who I was dating. I used to be very messy. But we picked him up, and he had these like rocks with things. He just came back. He seemed very like flowy. And,
Yeah, new knowledge.
California, new knowledge, just very whatever. And he came back. He gave us these rocks with words on them, and he just kept talking about this place, and then he kept saying, "I know it sounds like a cult, but it's not a cult." And then he would tell us more things, and then he got out of. We dropped him off, and then me and the guy who I was dating at the time, we both looked at each other and we're like, "It's a cult, right?"
a
It's a cult. I think it's a
And
cult.
then he kept going back, and then then he started working for them, and then he moved out
my
there,
gosh.
and I haven't heard from him.
Wow. God bless. God bless. Well, as long as they're not doing weird sex stuff and
Even
hurting
if
each
they are
other.
it's the last
It's
part.
the hurting.
You can do weird
do
sex
weird
stuff.
sex stuff as long as you're consenting,
as long as
and
they're
then you can just
Yeah.
live in a
into it.
communal lifestyle. I
long
feel like
as-
California is where all the cults are. I think I actually heard a statistic or something. It was like 75% of cults get started in California, and it's
Do you think
something
it's-
about like the new.
Oh, I was thinking maybe because just high property or expensive.
People are like, I gotta find better roommates.
It's cheap here.
Well, it is a huge state.
That's true. It's
There's
a big
Yes.
so many
it's a big
people
one.
who live there.
And it's
Yeah.
a good agricultural state.
There's a lot of land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven up?
I would
California?
love to do that. I've never done that. At least maybe take a train or something.
Yeah, I've done from Utah, and then we went to, is it Barstow? One of those agricultural towns. And I thought it was really cool.
Oh, that does
But
sound
it's
cool.
like weird when you get into a town, you're like, this is like, it's Texas, but in California.
Yeah.
It was an oil town.
Yeah, it's very weird.
It is because your whole time you think of California as LA and San Francisco,
Right.
maybe San Diego, and then you're like, no, outside
And
of it,
then,
like
like, the
Bakersfield and Barstow, that's very Republican. Orange County Republican.
Interesting.
It's how I feel like in New York or New Jersey or Connecticut. even.
right.
I did a show in Connecticut, and I was like, this is rural as hell.
Yeah, it's like once you get kind of out of the city, it's funny because I'm from Indiana, and so always like people are always like looking down on Indiana from East Coast. They're like, ugh, Indiana. It's like, but it's the same as here.
Right.
It's the same as here. Like when you get anywhere out of the city, it looks the exact same.
Yeah. Well, I remember that doc that took place. It was in California about the weed community.
Oh, the Emerald Triangle.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I didn't know they had redneck. You're like, these are rednecks, but they're
Yeah.
just mining pot.
Yeah, they
but
just
they're
don't
rednecks.
have Southern accents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always
they're
weird
like
when you're like,
surf rednecks. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
but it's weird when it dawns on you, you're like, I know these people.
Yeah.
I know exactly who these people are. And you're like, they just sound different, but you're like, they still have the same values everywhere else.
Yes, it is interesting. Like when you see it in like other cultures too,
Yeah.
or like
As you said in England, where you're like, I didn't know there was white trash over here.
yeah,
And
like
you're
Euro trash,
Yeah.
like, or my friend, Kelly, my old roommate, she was Australian, but she was, as it's called over there, I think she called herself this. I was called a bogans, which is like what they call white trash people in Australia. You're
Yeah.
like, we are all over the world. Isn't that special? We're
everywhere. Yeah.
Now, Ariel, as we're winding down here, I just want to ask you, what's your journey? What's going on with you? What's your journey that you're on?
I think it's the bangs.
The bangs.
I really like them.
Bangs.
I like the
I like
bangs.
what's happening with them. They're kind of like. Are you kind of wearing them to the front, or are you doing more curtain?
I'm usually wearing to the front, but today it wasn't working, and so we did to the side. We did
okay.
a little-
Yeah, I like them. I like both ways, and I like to the side too.
Thank you.
When did you get
It's
those cut?
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Do you
Okay.
maintain them yourself now, or do you have to schedule?
Well, they're too new to know.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
can
then-
see you have to train them still a bit. That's why I think.
Oh, yeah. Well,
training
this is-
bangs is hard.
This is also I woke up and I didn't brush my hair until maybe on the subway on the way here.
I hear
Gotcha.
ya.
So
I hear ya.
we haven't been doing anything today.
Me and my bangs.
Well,
we
bangs
did
in the
not
summer is
train.
hard.
Yes,
Yeah.
the humidity makes it even trickier. I
That
think.
was a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't regret the bangs, but I do regret doing them in July.
yeah, I hear that. No,
But
what?
I was doing a taping for something, and there was hair on set, and he was straightening my hair, and I asked him what he thought of the bangs because they were new, and he was like they're so feminine, and it didn't
Yes.
occur to me that bangs are a feminine hairstyle, but
Yeah.
they are, and it makes me feel very like. I've like shied
Yes.
away from my femininity a lot, and I was like a tomboy growing up, but there is something very like empowering about having the bangs as
Absolutely.
a statement of my femininity.
Yes, yeah, and
Yes.
I do feel there's bang shame out there in the world where it's there's always the
As if
joke
you're
of
crazy.
like, yeah, I
Well-
went through something and I got bangs, you know. Right, and of
They're
course,
not wrong, though.
but but it is always like that kind of trope is like something bad happened and you reacted, by getting trauma bangs. But I actually, well, I mean, I have bangs as well. I've always found bangs to be like a very flattering style. It depends on the shape of your face. It depends on how much maintenance you want to put into.
Some girls can do the short, which I'm jealous of. I can't because it looks. In Tropic Thunder, I went full R word.
Yeah. I just look. If I do that, I look like I don't have to tell anybody I'm from Kentucky. Like they just know.
The baby bangs, the baby bangs work. I think like if you are in an art gallery, And
yes.
Yeah, it's that. It's also. I think you and I talked about this once with haircuts of like. It's always disappointing after you get your haircut because you showed them a picture and there's the dumb part of your brain that's like
always.
Oh, but I thought I was gonna look like the model.
Yeah. You're like, I thought I was gonna look 18.
Where you're like, my hair does look like her hair. Yeah. I just thought that I was also gonna get like the genetic perfections, and you don't. So
every time,
It's
also very brutal too because it's like you'll take in a photo or even you'll Google like 10 different hairstyles and you're looking and it's all people on the runway with their hair professionally styled and it's like are you going to blow out your hair and then flat iron it every single day because that's a lot of time. And that's not practical.
I just wish they would do like on those lists of like hairstyles for you. It's like, well, can I put little filters of like on somebody who's like slightly chubby and like
I have 30 minutes to get ready in the morning and that's it.
I need all of those caveats.
There's a lot because I follow these fashion blogs and sometimes I'm like, I have that sweater, but why does it look really great on her? And I'm like, I know there's a lot of body inclusivity in modeling, but they still just get like one plus size and then the rest are just still eating disorder. And I'm looking at the eating disorder where you're like, I actually need more mid-size models to get an idea.
Yeah.
Well, even Maddie Weiner has a joke I heard her tell, which I thought was great. It was like, she's like, yes, I'm like looking at plus size models. It's nice. But like, this is, I want to see like fair fat.
Yeah.
I want to see one that's like trailer fat and not just like
bodies.
The hottest like plus size woman, a hot woman who happens to be plus size.
And it's always like TNA with still a nice formed waist where you're like, not everybody gets hit with that.
Yeah, like
nice
some people
proportions.
have like bad weight distribution. And it's like, let's give me a sweater for this person.
Yeah, she's like, I think her joke is like, I want to see somebody who's all their weight went to their neck.
Oh
yeah. Make that work for me.
Shout out on Lady Journey.
I also think bangs get a bad rap, but like I think every haircut is a trauma response.
Absolutely.
It's not just bangs.
And also when you get a haircut, like I've been on like a hair journey for like years now, which of just like, what's the short haircut? And every time it's like, okay, once every 8 months, I'm going to try for the haircut that I was hoping for.
Yes.
And then
it's
see
a trial
where
and
it grows
error.
out to. Yeah.
And then when you finally reach the haircut that looks the best for you, that means you have 3 months to live.
It means you have arrived.
You've reached the final destination.
Ariel, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Ariel_comedy, ARIEL_comedy on everything.
Thanks.
Everything.
Everyone, thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah. Lady Journey.